So good evening, everyone. This is Bruno speaking. We're starting our series of webinars for 2018. And tonight we have the privilege of listening to Henrique Moura from 7 Idiomas. Delivered a talk named Professional Development Toolkit. And Henrique is a CELTA, an iCELT, and a Delta tutor, and a CELTA and Delta external assessor. ELT market since 2002, teaching English to all levels of proficiency and special courses of phonetics and phonology, and subtitling, proficiency maintenance for teachers. He has also worked as a course designer and is the coordinator of courses at 7 Idiomas. Pursuing an MA in teacher development at the University of Chichester. How do you say that?
Chichester, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. But before we start, Barbara has some great news to announce, right, Barbara? You're muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
What can you tell us?
So we have a series of webinars for 2018, and we are going to have a pronunciation week now in February, beginning of March, with awesome people, and we're going to give you the details by the end of Henrique's talk.
Yes. We're going to share the names here, so stay tuned. So over to you, Henrique.
Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of speaking to our fellow Brelters. This is a topic which is very dear to me, and I think that it might be useful for teachers who want to start thinking about professional development in 2018, right? So here, I need to, hold on. I need to share my screen, but I think, a second. Ooh, I'm having some problem here.
There is a green arrow on the left corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found that one. So just, I think I closed the file by mistake.
Yeah, you have to open your presentation again.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So, okay. So then I come here. Okay. I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Just make it full screen. Yeah, click on apresentar, right? I think it's.
Okay, so let me try again.
Go back to the presentation.
Mm-hmm. Oops. And then, okay. Yeah, but.
Yeah, like apresentar. Exactly.
Yeah. Can you see it now?
1 minute. Yeah, now.
Loading in. Yes, it's all fine for me.
Good. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, good. So again, I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar and say that it's a pleasure to be here to talk about this topic, which is very dear to me. And to start, I think it's important to say why I think it would be a good idea to attend this webinar. So If you want to know why you should invest in yourself, because sometimes they say, well, professional development takes time, professional development is expensive, why is it a good idea to invest in professional development? Then it would be a good idea for you to attend this webinar. Another thing would be if you want to know, if you know what you want to do, but you don't really know where to start, or if you know the course you want to take, but you don't know where to take this course, and if you don't know how to choose a place to take this course, this webinar might be a good idea for you. Then perhaps if you have a few ideas, but you want to have maybe other perspectives and consider other possibilities, this might be a good idea for you to attend this webinar. And also if you want to maybe ask questions at the end, if you know already what you want to do, where you want to study, but you still have some questions that are not contemplated in this presentation, it might be a good idea for you to stay on. So before anything else, I'd like to share my idea of CPD with you, because nowadays we do talk about CPD. Everybody talks about CPD, but there are different understandings of what CPD is. So my understanding of CPD is that it is a way for you to track and document your skills, knowledge, and experience that you gain both formally and informally as your work. And why is this important to be able to track and document your experiences? I think it's important to do that because once you have these documented, you can prove to your potential employers and to students that you have been working on your continuing professional development. So much as we can learn lots of things from many different sources, not everything can be documented. And when a potential employer or a potential student doesn't really know you, it is interesting for you to have the possibility of showing this person what he have done, to have some sort of evidence of what he have achieved. So the aim of this webinar is to focus on features of professional development that can be documented, right? Then the next question that arises is why CPD is relevant? And we may think, okay, why is it relevant for me to show potential employers and prospect students what I have achieved so far? Well, the answer is that it's not only that. CPD does not just serve the purpose of giving you the tools to become more marketable, but it helps you record your professional achievements for yourself, and it is an interesting tool for you to understand what you have done so far and what you still want to do. It gives you the opportunity to review your development needs and help you establish goals to achieve in the near and perhaps long-term future. It helps you reflect on your career path and understand what you expect to do in your profession and maybe what avenues of development you might want to take. And it also ultimately helps you increase your employability. So there are many advantages to following a CPD program. Then when we think of employability, which is perhaps one of the first reasons why we think of taking courses and getting certified and becoming better, there are many characteristics that employers, and when I say employers, I'm not just talking about schools, I'm also talking about prospect students if you work one-to-one. There are many characteristics that your employers expect to find in you as a professional, and one of them is a positive attitude. So if you invest in your CPD, if you're always taking courses, participating in events, and doing things for your developments, this shows that you have a positive attitude to your profession and to your career. Also, getting certified means that you become a more dependable professional. And if somebody's going to invest their money in you, I believe that this person would want to have some sort of proof to rely on. So getting certified gives you this dependability that I'm mentioning here. Another thing is that investing in CPT is proof of continual learning. So you're constantly investing in yourself to become the best version of yourself, and this is quite interesting from the point of view of someone who would like to hire you. And last but not least, this means that you have a lot of initiative and would like to invest in your career. So first to start, what I have here is a world of acronyms, because when you start talking about professional development, especially when you're thinking about getting certified, there are lots of acronyms that we come across, and sometimes I don't know what they mean. So CELTEST, iCELT, FC, CP, CAE, GMAT, Delta, CELTA. So what do I take? What do all of these things mean? And then you have so many options that it becomes hard for you to choose where to start. So one of the things I'm going to try and do is help you decide. So first of all, help you understand what these things are, and then help you decide what you can do. So whenever we're thinking about teacher development, I believe there are three main possibilities of avenues to follow. So first of all, you may choose to work on your language and therefore become more advanced than you are, more proficient than you are. The second possibility would be improving your teaching skills, your knowledge of methodology, so that you have more opportunities to apply these things in your practice. And the third possibility would be to invest in something more academic, like a post-graduation course or maybe a mestrado or something like that. So to help teachers decide on the best avenue of development, I have thought of something I call the English Teacher SATNAV. It's just maybe a fancy name for flowcharts that I put together to help you maybe consider what course to take now in 2018. So first of all, there's a question. This is in Portuguese, but I'll translate this on the go. The first question I have is what it is that you want to develop. So if you want to work on your language, first thing, one of the first questions you have to ask yourself is, do you want to get ready for a certificate? Do you want to prepare to take a certificate? The answer may be yes or no. You may want to work on your language, but maybe you don't want to take a test. So you might go and look for a language development course, a language improvement course for teachers that will help you develop your language and maybe become more proficient in the language, but without focusing on any certificate in particular. But then if you do want to work on your language and at the same time get an international certificate, the next question you would have to ask is how advanced your English is. So maybe if your English is not yet advanced, you might want to look for a preparation course for FCE or some other equivalent certificate. However, if your English is already advanced, you might want to consider something like CAE or CPE, and then you might ask yourself how confident you feel to operate in any situation. So if you feel really confident to use your English fluently in any situation, maybe CPE would be a good call. However, if you know you're advanced but you still don't feel that confident to use your language in all sorts of situations, want and take a CAE. Of course, it would be important to take a placement test and talk to someone who understands the awards and the different levels of proficiency to tell you exactly what would be appropriate for you. But I think this is a good start. This flowchart aims at helping you get started. But then you have another possibility, which is not taking a language course, but methodology course. Then one thing you have to consider again is how advanced your English is, because depending on your level of English, it will be more difficult for you to cope with the demands of a certain course. So if you want to focus on methodology, but I mean something practical, when I say methodology, I mean teaching skills, practical skills. If you want to focus on something like this, but your English is not advanced yet, you might consider having a look at TKT, which is a teaching knowledge test that helps you become familiar with the main concepts of teaching. All of the certificates in this framework are the certificates offered by the University of Cambridge, but there are other possibilities too in the market, but these are quite dependable, and the ones I am more familiar with, so this is why I chose to put them in this framework. So going back here, when choosing a methodology course, if you think that your English is already advanced at a C1 or C2 level, then there is a next question that you have to ask yourself. Do you already have an initial qualification, like CELTA or Trinity? If the answer is no, then maybe you can start a CELTA, which is the most famous teaching certificate for teachers of English in the world. However, if you already have a CELTA and you want to continue developing as a teacher, there are other options. And then the next question you would have to ask yourself is how familiar you are with academic writing and how familiar you are with the background reading necessary to take the next certificate. So if you're not very familiar with academic writing and if your reading background is still not very strong, you might consider taking an ISELT, which is a great stepping stone to higher level certificates like Delta or even a master's, because it helps you develop your academic writing. It helps you read the basic ELT bibliography. But if you're already familiar with the basic ELT bibliography and you have familiarity with academic writing, maybe you could think of a Delta. Again, what I would suggest is that you look for a center or maybe talk to a tutor who really understands the awards to give you some ideas on how to proceed. But as I said before, the aim of this framework is to start helping you understand where you can perhaps start looking for information. The next possibility I had mentioned is if you want to get to develop a more academic background, so maybe have a more academic career. And then the first question you would have to ask is if you have a degree. If the answer is no, maybe it would be important for you to get a degree like Letras or Pedagogia, which are very important for teachers, especially if you want to work in a regular school, because having a degree is a prerequisite to working in mainstream education. So if you already have a degree, you still have options. So if you're looking for something more practical, then maybe you could take a postgrad course or a curso de especialização. However, if you want something more theoretical, perhaps a master's would be a better call for you. But then, of course, you would have to consider things like your interest in research and the availability of resources you have, and if there is something you really would like to research and spend time reading on. So as for the other courses, it would be important to look for someone who works with these programs to get sound advice on what to do. So after you have decided on the course you want to take, the next question would be how to choose the best course provider for you to take your course. And then here I have written down a few questions that I think might help you decide on where to take your course. Of course, these are not detrimental, but I think it's a good way for you to start when you research. So the first question is, how long has your course provider been established in the market? So the longer the course provider has been established in the market, the easier it is for you to find other people who have taken courses there, who can give you recommendations, and the more you can research on the center. So it's one of the things to look at. So how long has the center been offering the course you want to take? Then a second question to consider is, where is your course provider located? Here, we have a couple of things to think. So if you're thinking of taking a full-time course in a different city where you'll be renting a place to stay, I believe you would want to be near, to be taking the course in a center which is near restaurants, or near the subway, or where you can easily reach by bus, because it does take time to arrive to the center in the morning and then maybe go back to the place where you're staying in the evening. So the more convenient it is, the easier it's going to be for you to take the course, the less stress you will have to face. So thinking of where your center is located is a very important thing. Also, if you live in the city where you're going to take the course, it's important to consider where you live. So how long it's going to take you to get to the place, how easily accessible the place is, and this will help you make the decision. Then a third question I have included here is, what infrastructure can your course provider offer you? And then again, if you're coming from a different place to take the course and you need to rely on the center's resources to take the course, it's important to know what your center can offer you in terms of, say, internet connection or facilities in the building, other services nearby like restaurants and, I don't know, ATM, things you can do while taking the course, because usually these courses are very intense and you don't have much time to do personal things. So having an infrastructure in the center, near the center, would certainly be very convenient. Another thing you might want to consider is how qualified your tutors, the tutors working on the course are. So I think you can always look for biodata and read who the people giving the course are, what kind of academic background they have, what kind of experience they have running the course you want to take. And these things might count for your decision. So the next question would be how experienced the tutors are, but then I have already mentioned that before. And something that I would consider important is the range of courses that your course provider offers. The range of courses in terms of variety and in terms of availability, because if you are taking a course like CELTA, for instance, it's really a good idea if the center runs 2, 3, 4 courses at the same time, because if you miss an input session one day, you can negotiate this with your tutors and take the session at another time with a different group, so you don't miss any content. And also in terms of variety, because once you start in the CPD career, you usually want to follow through. So maybe if the center offers other courses you can take, it would be interesting for you to get to know the people, get to know the course, and also ultimately take the courses there. The next topic I would like to cover is word of mouth, because basically when we decide to take a course, one of the first things we do is look for recommendations from friends and from fellow professionals. And then I have some suggestions for you to curate this kind of word of mouth advice. So the first thing I would ask is, it's always a good idea to have advice from someone who's had first-hand experience. So if you're going to take a course at a certain center, ask if the person who's giving you the advice took the course at that center, because that counts a lot. Sometimes the advice we get is just maybe something the person heard from someone else, and which is not really true. So it's important for you to talk to people who actually experienced the situation you're going to experience, who took the same course you're going to take at the same place you're going to take, because then you can ask questions and have more reliable answers. Another thing is that it's important to have to take advice from someone who has knowledge of different contexts. So maybe if you're in doubt between two different courses, try to take advice from someone who has taken both courses, and then this person can give you a more accurate overview of what each of the courses entail and of the good parts and bad parts, so you can actually compare them. But if your advice comes from someone who hasn't really experienced both things, maybe you're not getting the better picture you could. Another thing is, it's always important to get knowledge, to get feedback, to get advice from someone who has knowledge of the course structure. That means if you want to take a master's in applied linguistics, talk to someone who really understands that, who has taken that, to tell you how that is organized. If you want to take a CELTA course, you need to talk to someone who has taken the CELTA course and who really understands how the course is organized. Yeah, and last but not least, after you have, after you take all the advice you need and after you make your decision to take a certain course, go and get to know the place, see the place with your eyes, talk to the tutors, hear what they have to tell you. It's really important that you get to see things yourself, because I think that's really, really helpful, and that will definitely help you make a decision. So now I think we need to, I need to ask you questions, right? No, you need to ask me questions if you have any. So I think I will not split the screen anymore. So I think that's it, right?
Nikki, I know we have a couple of questions from spectators on YouTube, but I would like to start off and ask you about the courses you offer at 7. Can you tell us what kind of courses, among these ones that you mentioned, which ones do you offer at 7?
Okay, so at 7 we have language courses, teacher development courses, methodology courses. So in terms of language development, we have language improvement, which is a course for teachers at a C1 level that doesn't really focus on exam preparation, but it focuses on the language problems that Brazilian teachers usually have. So the most recurrent problems we observe teachers have. We have preparation courses for CAE and CPE. So if someone wants to take a certificate like these, we can help the teacher. We have pronunciation courses to help teachers understand how the pronunciation system works and also teach pronunciation. Our course is not just focused on accent, not accent reduction, but not just focused on the teacher's pronunciation, but also on how to teach pronunciation. And in terms of methodology, what we have is all the Cambridge suite. So we offer from TKT through Delta. We have lots of CELTA courses, CELTA Online, iCELTS, Delta, all modules 1, 2, and 3. And apart from that, we have a teaching one-to-one course, which helps teachers develop their techniques to better teach one-to-one students. And I think that's it.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, very nice. Barbara has more questions. Barbara?
Yes, there is a question from Daniela from Facebook. She's asking, what's your suggestion for language improvement if the teacher holds a CPE but still needs language improvement in terms of speaking?
Okay. I can hear you very well, but I think the teacher asked about post-CP language development courses, right?
Exactly. She is a CPE student. I mean, she's a C2 student, but she needs to go further. She feels that she needs to develop more linguistically speaking. So, what do you suggest?
Okay, there are a couple of post-proficiency language development courses in the market. So basically what she needs to look for is a language development course at a C2 level, and there are quite a few in the market.
Does Seven offer any of them?
The language development course we have at present is at a C1 level, so it's for teachers who are below C2 level. We might consider that, we just haven't still thought of that.
All right. Julie is also asking, which courses do you think are better to prepare teachers to teach adults?
CELTA. CELTA is, the meaning of CELTA is Certificate of English Language Teaching to Adults. It used to be, not anymore. But still, CELTA is geared towards the teaching of young adults and adults. So if the person has an advanced level of English, I think CELTA would be the best call.
All right. My question. If the teacher considers himself or herself already fluent, but doesn't have a CPE, and has to choose between taking a CPE certificate or a CELTA, which one do you think is more useful?
I think they're both equally important. What the teacher has to do is choose the order in which they want to take the courses. I think the best idea in this case would be maybe talk to a CELTA tutor and then be interviewed, because the tutor will be able to maybe advise on what to do. But basically, you don't need to have a certificate, a language certificate to take CELTA. You need to have the language level. But I think they're both equally important. So basically what the teacher would have to do is choose the order of things. So what does the teacher want to take first, language or improve first language or teaching skills?
And for the market, which one do you think is more relevant?
It's hard to say. I think the CELTA's been, people have been taking CELTA a lot. So more and more we see job positions that require people to have CELTA, or in which CELTA is not a requirement but would be an advantage. So I do think the CELTA is quite an advantage if for you to be in the market. But still, a language certificate is also very important. Of course, that if you have a CELTA that shows your employer that you have at least a C1 level of English, although the CELTA is not a language certificate. So it's hard to say which one would be more relevant to the market, but I think the CELTA is becoming more and more important because people are getting to know it more and more.
Do we have more questions, Barbara? Oh, there's another question, Henrique. Decide if they are ready for courses such as iCELT and Delta.
I think the best thing would be talking to a tutor, because then the tutor will have a look at your CV, your experiences. There will be teaching awareness tests, so the tutor can assess your background knowledge of teaching, and then a tutor would help you decide. But I think the best thing is looking for a center who offers both courses and talk to one of the tutors, because then the tutor would be able to advise the person on an individual basis.
Yeah, Henrique, my personal question is, like, the side of professional development, you as a tutor brings you more development, like professionally speaking, for you as a tutor. How do you feel about that?
It's hard to say because it's quite interesting. I think the last, because now I've been taking this master's on professional development. So my master's focuses on professional development. So I think this is the thing that actually helps me most at present as a tutor. But teaching the South is quite interesting because you work with many different teachers who have lots of different experiences, and it's quite interesting. But still, teaching courses like ISELTS and Delta really make me think and question certain concepts, certain beliefs. So I think they're all really relevant. So it's hard to choose one.
Okay, okay, Henrique. Let me see if we have more questions. Do we have questions? No, I don't think we have any more questions, so we're done. Thank you very much, Henrique. It was very, very interesting. I loved it very much.
On a Friday night, everybody wants to go out.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much, Henrique. We hope to see you soon here because it was very enlightening for us.
Okay, good.
We'll see you around.
Okay, see you around. Thank you. Bye.
But before we finish, guys, we would like to mention to you, to talk to you about our very new event, which will take place, will start on February the 25th and will go until March the 4th, to be the Pronunciation Week. We have decided to do, my camera is horrible because I have very bad lighting, I'm sorry. But a week of webinars, 2 or 1 per day, we haven't decided that, but we're gonna have presenters, our very own Thiago Veiga, our very own Claire Venables, which is part of the family already, Catarina Pontes, Igor Cavalcanti, so very special Brauters will be presenting, and we have confirmed teachers such as Gemma Archer, Cock, and Adrian Underhill. I'm sure you won't gonna be awesome. So I'll see you on February the 25th, Pronunciation Week, when we start this. Released very, very soon. So stay tuned.